Hey folks, Kyle here. If you're not familiar with me, I'm usually more of a blogger. You can find me at kylewbanks.com. But today I decided to change things up and do a video on how to use Git with Unity. So the reason I decided to do this as a video is because I figured with all the kind of images and screenshots I'd have to take and rather than having all these images and kind of a little bit of text in between, it'd be easier to just kind of walk you through the process in video format. So kind of bear with me if, I'm kind of new to this, so it's a learning experience. Anyway, so the point of this video is to show you how to use Unity with Git. And the reason I decided to make this is because I've seen a lot of questions on the internet about kind of how to do that, and I kind of feel like, so for me, coming from like a mobile developer and backend developer, and kind of like a full stack, developer working in various size teams. I have a lot of experience with Git, so I feel like a lot of indie developers who are maybe kind of just learning and they're working on their own, or maybe they've been coding for a long time, but they work on kind of solo projects. Maybe they don't use Git, which personally I think is crazy because I think you get a lot even by yourself using Git. But anyways, I figure maybe if you don't have that experience, it might be a little bit intimidating. I know when I was learning Git back in the day, it was, there's a bit of a learning curve to it. But anyways, I was just gonna kind of show you a little bit of the basics and kind of show how it works with Unity. So anyways, I'm gonna be using GitHub for hosting. So you can create a free account, and with the free account, you can make public repositories, which means anyone can see it. If you want to do private repositories, which you might if you're making kind of a proprietary thing, you will have to pay a monthly fee based on, I believe it's based on the number of repositories you have, but I can't remember. But anyways, so I'm going to be creating a public repository. We'll call this, Unity Git sample. Okay, description, sample project with Unity. Cool, we'll leave it public. Oh, and I should say, if you want to use Bitbucket or any of the other Git hosting services, it's it's the exact same thing. But I just personally prefer GitHub, so that's what I'm going to be showing this with. Anyways, I'm going to make a public repo. I always initialize a repository with a README. It just, I don't know, I feel like every project should have a README, even if it's just something for yourself. It might be just like little tips to leave for yourself, like this is how you run the project, this is how you build, this is how, whatever, because you never know if you're going to take a bit of a break from the project, come back to it 6 months later. You have that README there to kind of guide you with, stuff you may have forgotten. Anyway, so GitHub has this really useful tool here, add.gitignore. What a gitignore is it allows you to ignore files in the project that should not be put into Git, and I'll show you why that's important in a moment. But it comes with all these samples, right? So for all kinds of different projects, you got like, Android, App Engine, C++, whatever. So we'll go ahead and type Unity. It has a sample gitignore for Unity. License, again, it has samples for all the different licenses. I'm just going to go open none for the purposes of this. But go ahead and click Create Repository. And we've got this sample project set up. So this is actually public. You can go to this URL. You can see it. You can see all the files. Right now it's just got the two, the gitignore and the README. But let's go ahead and take a look at the gitignore. So this template is meant for Unity. And basically, you'll see all these kind of files. There's some stuff in here that's like platform specific, like you might just see for example, the .apk, that's only for Android projects. But it's generally generated metadata files that you wouldn't want committed to, sorry, I'm just going to close Slack there. You wouldn't want committed to the repository because they're for your system only, right? So like user preferences or these metadata files, they're only for your system. So if someone else pulls those and tries to import it into Unity, it's going to cause problems. Every platform, like Unity, Android, all the platforms have files like this. So yeah, you just don't want to be putting those into Git. Cool. So what we'll do, basically, so what you can do is you can go ahead and pull this, right? So I could git clone Unity git sample, that'll download the project. If I cd into Unity git sample, do ls, you'll see the README there, ls-. A, you'll see the .git ignore. You also see this .git directory. You can mostly ignore this for now. There's some more advanced stuff in there you can do. But yeah, now we have the files set up. I can look in the README. There you go. You see the H1 and this description, same as you see in the background there. It's pretty simple. But that's not what I'm going to do. So we're going to cd out rm-rf the unity git sample. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, if you have an existing project, so this would be if you were creating a new project, you would go ahead and clone it first, and then you would create your Unity project in this folder. But I'm going to show you, let's pretend we already have a project set up that we want to move into Git. So I'm going to go create a new Unity project. Okay, so let's call this, Unity Git sample, match the repo. We're going to put it in the code directory. So we'll have a new project, let this set up. Okay, so we've got the project set up here. I'm sure you've seen this before. So let's go into Unity Git sample, shell. All right, so what you're going to want to do is git init. Okay, so it's initialized an empty repository. Now, if you do git status, you're going to see these files there, and if you do git add dot, it's going to add everything to the stage. Git status again, you're going to see all these files, right? But if we look in our git ignore, a lot of these files actually should be ignored. So what we're going to do instead is now we're going to go git remote add origin, and we're going to put that GitHub URL there, right? Actually, is that the right URL? Yeah. We're going to add that URL, and now if we do git pull origin master and git status, still see those, git reset head. You don't have to do all this. This is just because I'm demoing it to you. You would normally just do the git pull origin master and do git status again, and you're going to see there's a lot less files than there was before. See, it's just project settings. If you look up here, there was library and temp, which we didn't want. So if we could do git add dot again and git status, we've now got a lot less files. And this is only the files that people would need to pull the project. But what I'm going to do first, well, actually, yeah, so let's commit this. So git commit, do -m, set a message, we'll just call this initial commit. Okay, and git push origin master. Now, if we go back to GitHub, bam, we've got the project settings, got all our assets, all that kind of stuff, all the default stuff that comes with the new Unity project. Well, let's go back into Unity, let's create, let's put some stuff. Oh, one thing I should note, you won't find the assets directory in GitHub yet. You'll see it's nowhere to be found. It's because Git doesn't add empty directories. So you need to actually have something in the directory before Git will add it. So let's go ahead and save the scene. We'll create a scenes directory in our assets folder called scenes. Call this sample. All right, and now we'll create another folder. We'll call this maybe, what do you want to call it? Let's do a prefab. All right, so we've got a prefab, and now I'm going to do new 3D object. We'll add a cube. All right, so we have a cube there, right? Nothing fancy, but we'll make a prefab out of it. Call this, awesome cube. So now we have an awesome cube prefab. So we go back to Git, or to the command line, do a git status again. We're going to see what's been modified. So the project settings.asset has been modified, and if we add all, do git status, we'll see the prefab's metadata. We're going to see the awesome cube prefab metadata. So these .meta files, if you've never looked in those before, they're basically just YAML files. I'm not sure if it's technically, I think it is YAML. But they basically give Unity kind of some metadata about that object. So you do want those in Git. That way someone else who pulls your project, someone on your team, or someone, if you're doing some open source stuff, they'll be able to import the product directly and be completely ready to run. So we'll commit this again. and let's call this added awesome cube, not sub cube, and push origin master. Great. So now let's go back over here, and we'll see our assets folder. We'll see our prefab, our scene. You can look at the scene. This is a raw file, so you won't be able to actually see anything. But if you look at the metadata, you'll see it there. See our prefabs, awesome cube prefab. Again, these objects are actually binary, like raw objects, so you won't actually be able to look at them in GitHub, but you'll be able to look at the metadata files. And yeah, that's it. That's using Git with Unity. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it wasn't too rough around the edges, being my first video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. I might do more of these later, or hit me up at kylewbanks.com. I do blog a little bit about Unity, a lot about Android, and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Sorry, one more thing that I just remembered. It's a little thing, but basically when you pull the project and you open it in Unity, there's one little thing you gotta do. So I'm gonna go ahead and pretend I'm another team member or something. So I'm gonna go pull this project into my desktop. So git clone the project. Right, and so again, remember, we're pretending I'm a different developer, right? Someone who you're working with on your team. So when they go file, open project, desktop, the project, by default, it is not going to open the main scene, right? So you're gonna see like everything's empty, but you'll notice here the scene is untitled. So if you go into the scenes directory where we created our sample scene, just double click that. Everything's there like it's supposed to be. It's just a minor thing, but something that it might be a little bit weird, because when you pull the project, you open it, it looks like nothing's there, but don't worry, it's all there. It all works. Everything's good. So yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it was helpful. And see you in the next one.